Well, it's the most beautiful day. You really couldn't ask for better. Cold, but it's just lovely, and you can feel the warmth of the sun suddenly. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's fairly calm at the moment. I'm in this field I was in last time with the horses, trying to do it a little bit more carefully. I'm going to take my earbuds out. Because of the horses, there's electric fences everywhere, and unless you're bang in the middle of a field, there's a constant chatter. But I'm sort of getting used to it. I wonder how much I'm missing when the chatter's actually over a target at the same time. It's quite hard work when it's like this. But I've already found a few bits and pieces, including the just most incredible piece of bronze. Don't think there's anything on it. It's very gnarly. It's probably just bronze waste. That is the best sign you could possibly get. Nothing pleases me more than finding big bits of bronze. Whenever I find big gnarly bits of bronze like that, there's always better things. Always Roman and Celtic and all sorts of bits and pieces. So that's just fabulous, really weighty. A couple of bits of lead, including this square one with, I think, a little bit of ferrous on it as well. I don't know what's going on there. There's definitely a round section in the middle. Someone will tell me, but that's definitely been used for something. And 2 Roman coins. One in here and one just down there. Now, I've talked before about these fields. There's moles everywhere, just everywhere, which I think is really quite nice. I quite like the idea of moles. And by the look of it, these fields just do not get turned over. They're too small to have been, I think, even cultivated during the war. I mean, God knows when they were last turned over. Things come up in the most incredible condition. But both these Roman coins, this one I found earlier, there's really nothing on it at all. I can see an emperor's head there. Might even be one of the girls, I think, that one. They were both literally on the surface, both giving me sounds like ring pulls. And this one, which was just down here again, basically, I mean, I had to dig into the clod an inch off the surface. And it's a beautiful Roman coin in the most incredible condition. I don't know who it is, but I can see Nus just there on the end, org, and all the rest of it. So it's one of the House of Constantine. It's a 4th century bronze coin, and one of the what they call the House of Constantine, the successors of Constantine, all his sons and those who came after them. And there's the emperor on the back holding his spear and his shield. I can't remember what the motto, what the legend of that side is. And you can even see the mint mark, even though I can't make it out complete. I think it says T-Con, which I think is Arl, funnily enough. But that's just wonderful. So I haven't been here very long, and already, you know, from the last time I was here, I knew it was going to be a good field. So I'm just doing it a bit more carefully, trying not to get too maddened by the interference from the electrical fences. But we'll see how we get on. For the mic, I'm hoping might make a difference. Let's have a listen quickly, because there's a nice signal down here. Not the mic, I mean the speaker. It's such a pain. This is the best speaker I've found for this, and it's just gone on the blink a little bit recently, and they're not selling them. I can't find it again. I bought thousands of these to try and find a good one. You need something fairly powerful in a funny way to be able to transmit this sound this makes to that, but I'm just hoping this could make all the difference. So let's have a listen. Certainly working in the earbuds. There we are, we're on now. Oh, I can't tell you what a lovely day it is. So far so good. You could probably hear all the interference that's getting to me. This isn't so bad here. We're in the middle of the field, or a little bit away from it, as you can see. Quite punchy, there's a bit of iron around it. But I'm not being put off by punchy signals here, especially with those Roman coins being almost on the surface. And it's still in there, so Definitely losing targets today. I'm sure it's something to do with the interference. But it's just there. Because the soil changes a bit of colour there. Gosh, I don't know what that is. Yes, I think I do know what that is. I think that's the lid of a tobacco jar, isn't it? Let's have a look. There are Victorian and Georgian coins in this field. Well, it's definitely got rounded bits. I think that's what it is. I think it's a lid of something. Rather a lovely one, and I think that's a tobacco jar lid. Only because I've found them before. Is that what it is? Giving that punchy sound. The ones I found before are sort of more ovular. That's definitely more rounded. I wonder, maybe it's quite crude to look at it. Well, it looks like it's got cast marks there. But anyway, very nice. Something a bit different. This one's almost next door to it. Well, it's not. It's a 20 feet away, 10 feet away, 15 feet away. Still in there. A little bit off there. I always like to try and go inside the hole rather than digging more. You see what I mean? Just get in like that rather than digging more on the outside. Keep the original hole as clean as you can. Yeah, it's just in here. That should get it. No, I think it's a cartridge. I can see it. There's a few of those in here. Cool, making a bit of a mess of this. All that, what is it? Yeah, it's just a cartridge, my God. Because I feel like it's hard work today. Well, look at this. I don't think there's anything on it. But it's green and gnarly and bronzy. And I just think that's another lovely piece of bronze casting waste. I don't think that's from anything. Just such a good sign. I can't impress enough how much these little bits mean to me in a funny way. Is there something on that? I don't think so. Just such a good sign. I mean, that's just got so much age. The only way I can get a sound out of this machine at the moment is by doing this. Pretty foily sounding. I almost missed it. And there's a bit of iron there. That's definitely a signal. And I've got something else sounding very similar. But there's another one there. I don't like the sound of that though. That's not bad. And I've got something which sounded very similar in my pocket to show you too. Don't ignore these foily sounds with this machine. If it really turns out that it is a lot of foil you're digging, then obviously stop, but not foily anymore, is it? It might not be any good. I found a lot of musket balls, but I don't think that's a musket ball. but it might be a cartridge or a bit of lead. Well, it's this. God, this thing. It's just a tiny bit of copper. It's one of those really boring things, I think, that put screws into bits and pieces. It's got the narrow bit there, but that's what I mean by these foily sounds. Could be anything coppery. Little strap end or sorts, or a little buckle. But this gave an almost identical sound. Now, it's very, very medieval in look because of all that zigzagging going on. And it's obviously been made to be flat of sorts because it's slightly flatter and filed that side. Now, God knows what it's from, is it? But I suspect it's got to be a buckle of sorts, hasn't it? With that central section there. And all this would have gone round. But that's definitely got a lot of age, that. I'm really pleased with that. Not so pleased with that. But you can't ignore them if you're in the field for the first time. But as I said, if it was turning out to be foil all the time, I'd stop. Hi there, and welcome to Headquarters. Well, it's the perfect day to do Headquarters segments because it's just horrible outside. It's got really cold and wet. Not even Tasky wants to go out. He's at his Tasky favourite spot, looking out of the window, looking for squirrels and stuff like that. So a good day to be indoors. Now I put this up on the detectinghub.co.uk, information below. It's a great little forum and for all sorts of things. I suspect there's very little information about metal detecting you can't find from one of the members on that, including obviously IDing your finds. Now this is a bit of an odd one. Kath, one of the leaders of the hub, got back to me very quickly and said it's got to be medieval because with that zigzagging it can't really be anything else. It's just what is it? I suspect it must be a buckle because like all sorts of things we find metal detecting, you've got to slightly think, well, what else could that be? It's got a smaller sort of crossing section there, which I suspect is where a pin might have been, and it looks really quite broken. It's slightly raised on one side. That would probably continued all the way around and it would have formed a buckle. I mean, I'd love to know what anyone else might think of it. I mean, I can't think what else it would be. No one else has got back to me on it yet, which means either they're a bit baffled or they're a bit bored by it. I'm not sure, but it's just a really cool thing, and it's a nice early thing. I mean, by medieval, I think we tend to mean anything sort of pre-Tudor, sort of going up to sort of 1450, sort of 1500, and please correct me on that as well. And I didn't photograph this at the time, but this is this funny little lead thing. I mean, I've no idea what it is, and I will put it up on the Detecting Hub. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's a new one on me. It's a proper lead square with a rounded section in the middle, and definitely a ferrous section there. I bought these couple of these tiny little magnets. Are really handy for working out whether something is iron or not, and that bit there is definitely iron. And just really quickly while I've got you, someone said on my last video, someone pointed out, and his comment got a lot of likes, so he's obviously not alone in thinking this, said, by the way, I disagree with you saying don't dig iffy signals, because this gentleman always did. And just to clarify, I never ever say don't dig an iffy signal. Absolutely not. In fact, with the Deus II, I think you should dig more iffy signals than ever before. The amount of iffy signals I've dug with that machine, which have turned out to be really, really good. All I was trying to say, albeit probably not very clearly, is that I used the Deus II like I did the Deus I for years before. I just used my ears. Now, if I'm digging an iffy signal, or an unclear signal, and I dig several very similar sounding signals after that, and it turns out to be the same not particularly nice thing, it's usually cartridges, which are quite telltale once you get the hang of them, in an area where there are a lot of cartridges, or probably more importantly, that very foily sound I talk about a lot, which turns out often to be silver, hammered silver, or interesting copper. But if it is very, very foily and very low, and it's turning out to be either little bits of iron or little bits of foil in an area where there are lots of little bits of iron, lots of bits of foil, I personally stop digging it because it's the way I want to metal detect. One of the wonderful things about metal detecting, there's no right or wrong answer. Funnily enough, it's the only hobby I know where everyone, including myself, think we're experts. every single person who metal detects thinks they are an expert to some degree. But the reason for that is that there's no right or wrong way. So we're all right, and conversely, we might all be wrong. But the most important thing is, do metal detect how it makes you happy, if that makes sense. If you want to dig every single signal, and by doing that, like this gentleman also said, which he's got a very good point, by digging every signal, you're clearing your land of those bad signals, just leaving yourself good signals, hopefully. If that makes you happy, do it. Some people swing the coil very fast like me, some do it very, very slowly. Some people walk very fast like me, some people walk very slowly. There's no right or wrong way. Personally, if I'm digging the same thing over and over again, and I know what it sounds like, it could easily be something good, but I don't want to waste my time doing that. But that's just the way I metal detect, and it's probably very different from the way you metal detect. But thankfully, we all do it a bit differently, and we're all right and we're all wrong. So the bottom line is, I believe, especially with the Deus II, dig every iffy signal until you start getting the hang of what those iffy signals start telling you. And if it's something you don't really want to be digging much more of that day, then what I'm saying is don't feel you have to. Thank you very much for listening to all that, and let's get back to the fields. It's a funny video, this. It's a bit of a slow start, as you've seen, but almost as I'm tying up the day, I start finding some absolutely incredible things. And it's a bit like fishing. It's that one last cast, isn't it? You know, you say, well, this is going to be the last one, and then you think, go on, just one more. And how often do we find things on the last cast? Well, it is extraordinary, I think, how often we find things on the last cast. Anyway, thank you very much for all that, and let's go back to the fields. Well, look, another big bit of bronzy rubbish. I thought that might be a little toy pistol at first, but I don't think it is. It's just casting waste. I don't often find so much, but that's what it is. Quite sculptural, isn't it? I don't think it's nothing. It can't be anything else than that. Wow. I've been a little bit devoid of good signals. I've been around most of this field now, and it's this, the first part I was on this time and last time, which is sort of any good. The rest is just lead and cartridges. I think there must have been a partridge drive, an old-fashioned partridge drive here, and they would have pushed them over a hedge here from the far wood, because all along this stretch is cartridges. Sorry to interrupt, but we've just had some very important information that's come in on this buckle fragment. Kath, who is just brilliant on her research, I mean, especially when it comes to medieval artefacts, has found on the portable antiquities scheme basically this buckle, or it is so close, and it explains the slightly knobbly edge that we've got here, which I was saying earlier. And here it is. It's not the same one, obviously, but it is extremely close, and even the chamfered bits in the middle, and that's brilliant. And effectively, it's a large copper alloy double-looped buckle, both loops trapezoidal, la-di-da, la-di-da, no very close parallel noted, but broadly similar to whatever, 15th century. And there it is, so not a common find. As I said at the time, as I thought, I haven't seen anything quite like it. But anyway, I thought I'd just quickly update you on that, so now we all know. And thank you, Kat, brilliant. And my God, you can't not dig them. Now that's a really lovely sound. That's not a cartridge, I don't think. It's slightly too pointy, if that makes any sense. Pinpointing well today. Most of my targets have been bang in the middle. I always tell you when I'm pinpointing well. I tell you when I'm pinpointing badly too. It's bang in the middle. Bang in the middle. At some depth, mind. I think it's probably in Have a little listen now, quickly. Ooh, it doesn't get better than that, does it? Crikey. What is it? It is a little bit of copper. It's a little buckle. But I'll take that at the moment. That's lovely. I've got a bit of silvering on it. Don't think it's particularly early, that one. I think that's Tudor. But it's been hard work to this, but doesn't matter. It's been so bloody lovely being out, and that's nice. That's a nice little buckle. That sounded good, didn't it? Sounded nice right from the start. Well, I'm almost done, but I've enjoyed myself, I've got to say. Well, I've come to a tiny little field just off the main one I was on, because I was getting a bit bored of that. The last 2 hours really was very, very little. I found 2 Roman coins amongst these molehills in about 3 minutes. I mean, absolutely one. Well, I don't know what's on that one, but it looks quite silvered. It's very, very. I mean, it'll clean up nicely. And then I've just found a tiny little particle of one. Well, it's a little fragment of one. Just literally on the surface. That's a pretty good sign. I don't know where I put that little fragment, probably in the big pocket, which means I'm not going to find that easily. But there's that one little one. And then here, I mean, just listen to this. It's exactly the same sound. It's on the surface of that molehill. I'm not going to have to dig it. I don't know what it is. Well, not a Roman coin, I'm afraid, but it's a tiny little musket ball. Look, just a tiny little pistol shot or musket ball, whatever they are. Anyway, I've got just half an hour, 3/4 of an hour left, but I'll whiz around here and see what I can find. Well, I have galloped around, not to much avail. Maybe that was just sheer luck, sheer chance. We'll have to end on this, because I've come to the end. It's a bit foily sounding, not foily, I mean dull, not very clipped. I've dug a lot of cartridges, a lot of lead. It's been good fun, but tiring today. And I will come back to this little field and do it properly another time. But finding 2 out of 2 early on. Right, it's in there. It's obviously very shallow. One of the ones I've just found was on the surface. On the surface. Dug by moles. And here's another, it's another little Roman coin. Wow. I will have to come back and do this properly, because they are obviously here. I don't know what's on the back of that. I'll have to look at it properly. But there you go. Here it is in a bit more detail. Not that it's not much to go on, but yeah, perfectly nice, isn't it? Well, this is promising, isn't it? Thank you very much for watching, and we'll try and come back here next time. Okay, let's just do one more. This sounds nice. But it could be a cartridge, but then again I thought the last one was a cartridge. And then we really do have to say goodbye after this one, because I've got to go home. It's a tiny field, this. And I will come back and do it a bit more seriously. Well, that's promising, I think. I don't think it's a cartridge. Oh, it's horrible. I'm not even going to bother. Look, it's another one. Bang in the same area. Same part of the field. That's a tiny little Roma memorial. Can you see? That's the wolf, and Romulus and Remus suckling the wolf. And then you'll have Rome on the back, and it'll be Herbs Roma. Well, it might be Herbs Roma. That's Roma. And there's Roma on the back with her war helmet on. Wow. Well, this is jolly nice. We'll have a quick end on this one. That just sounds coiny to me, and a little bit bigger than the other three. Or it's a cartridge. I've just said goodbye over there, but well, yeah, coin or cartridge. I'm just really putting my money on a coin here. Yeah, it is, and it's a bloody lovely one. My God, what a one to finish on. Look at the condition of that. Well, look, I'll come back here. It's not a big field, I'll show you now. It's tiny, it's an acre or so, but I found 4 coins in very short time, including this one, which is one of the best coins I've found in a long time. It's Constantine the Great, and it's got whoever it is on the back, Sol Invictus it says. So it's the indomitable, unbeatable son, or whatever it is, which was a very popular cult at the time. And that's just absolutely, well, I'm blown away. Well, look, this is quite exciting. We'll come back here next time and do it properly. It'll only take an hour, so it's not big, and see if we can find any more. Thank you very much for watching. I keep saying goodbye, but I can't resist one more. I can't resist continuing. And I've only got this small little camera with me because I left the big one up by the other field. But I've been talking a lot about this sort of signal recently. Just very soft and fuzzy, but just enough there, and it's not iron. And these signals with this machine can be brilliant targets. I mean, now having said that, it's just going to be a piece of lead, but well, it might still be a piece of lead. But did you hear how soft it was there? Well, that's cool. God, that might be Roman as well. How wonderful. I don't know what it, I think it's just a, well, I don't know, it's a semicircular piece of copper, but it just looks old enough. I mean, I don't think that's medieval. I think that must be Roman. Just seriously cool, that. Wow. What a little field. What a little field. Well, look, this really is goodbye. Sorry for keeping you. That's a beautiful thing to end on. And well, look, we'll whiz back to headquarters. Look at that coin. Look at this as well, because I think it'll be worth it. Let's go. Hi there, and welcome back very quickly, because we've overshot it slightly, but we must have a quick look at these two things. I really didn't want to over egg the pudding with this video, saying best Roman coin I've ever found after the title of the last one, which really was the most incredible coin I've ever found. But this one of Constantine the Great, my God, I think it could actually beat the one in the previous video. But as I said, I can't just keep saying the best thing I ever found, because you just won't believe me. But this is just absolutely fabulous, and it is. I mean, it's just in mint condition. I mean, I just haven't found anything really like it before. It's got Constantine on one side and an incredible portrait, and just the definition of the armour and his face and the legend is just. I mean, well, what more can I say? But on the other side is Sol Invicto, which I could see at the time because it's very, very clear, and the mint mark PLN, which is London, I really won't bang on for too long, but Sol Invicto is a very popular reverse for Constantine. He minted a lot of these in about 307 to 310. It's the cult of the sun god, and not just the sun god, but the unconquerable sun god, the indomitable sun god, the invincible sun god. And the comity, which I didn't know, comes from the Latin comes, which means companion of or coming to. So what it means is that Constantine is coming to, or is the companion of the sun god, who was also the patron of soldiers. And that's just a very strong symbol, isn't it? I mean, if you are declaring yourself companion of the invincible sun god, and there's loads and loads of stuff online you can read about the symbolism of these coins, but I just don't have time here. Just to simply say, wow. I mean, just bloody wow. I mean, it incredible. I mean, could have been dropped the day it was minted. And then finally this. Sorry about the end of that video. I just kept on, it was one of those days, I said in the last video, can't do more than 4 hours. But this was just had a feeling that every signal could have been something, and I just kept on going. And then with the very last dig of the day, we found this. Now, I said at the time that I thought it might be Roman. I still something about it, even though I can't find it. It probably isn't, because that's just not a very Roman-esque design. In fact, if you look at CJ's buckle pages, just Google buckle ID, you will see that it is much more in keeping with a late medieval buckles, some of which are rounded and some which are sort of spectacly type buckles, which do have this sort of tapering thing. There's a chap called Fred on the Detecting Hub who's very knowledgeable. That's what he reckoned. He said, look, it looks to me like the reason it's tapering and that the cross section would have been sort of there, and it's either part of an annular buckle or a spectacle buckle, but he reckoned probably medieval. Now, he knows more than I do, and therefore I suspect he's probably right. Kath, however, found something as well, which is very similar, which is again is a sort of late medieval type of buckle. Something about it, something about the way it's made just makes me think it might be something else. But I mean, as always with these things, there are a lot of people out there who know more than you do, and therefore, if you're the only one thinking it's one thing and everyone else is telling you it's another, they're probably right. But anyway, so those are those two things. I mean, just absolutely fabulous. I mean, my God. I have been back to that field. You'll see it in the future videos, and it's an exciting little field. Thank you very much for listening to all of that. And from me and Tasks, see you next time.